Welcome everybody to this brand new video. It is 2024. It's been 2024 for like 2 weeks now, but it's still January, so we can still talk about my New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna get you up to date, okay? I have a few resolutions, and I've talked about this on my Instagram, I've talked about this on my TikTok. I've talked about these, but I'm also gonna talk about these in a little more detail because honestly, some of them are a little more complex, so let's just get into my New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna start with the ones that I feel are obvious and that I feel everybody should have in their New Year's, okay? So I personally believe that we all should care less. We all care way too much about what other people think. I care way too much what other people think. I care way too much if what I'm saying right now is gonna affect people. I hope it is. I hope people are enjoying this and watching this. If you do enjoy what I say right now, you can leave a like, you can subscribe. I would be very happy about that. So, in general, I have made it my goal to care a lot less. To just take breaks when I need them, care less what other people think of my reading, to read the books that I want to read. That's the first thing. And I feel like that's also the most important thing. But that's not really why you're here, right? You're here because you want to know about my reading goals for this year. Now, as always, I have set my reading goal to 1 book a year. I've been doing this for like 2 years now. So last year I set the reading goal to 1 book and I read 203 because I am a psychopath. And this year I set the reading goal to 1 book again just because it takes a lot of pressure out of it. Because once you've read this 1 book, Goodreads isn't gonna tell you, you're behind schedule, you need to read 5 books to get back to your schedule. I don't want that. Okay, that's just stressful and I'm just reading for myself. I like putting the reading challenge on there so that I can look up all the books in my Goodreads in the year. I enjoy that, that's fun, but I don't enjoy the pressure that comes with it. So my reading challenge on Goodreads is 1. Now my unofficial reading challenge is a lot higher because my challenge this year is to get my TBR below 200. I'm being realistic here, okay? Very realistic. Below 200. I'm not gonna get to below 100. Even though I would love to do that, maybe I can. The closer I am to 100, the better, honestly. But right now, I'm at 290 something, okay? I started this year with 302 books. I have a lot of books that I still need to read on my TBR, and I am looking forward to all of them, honestly. I really want to read those books, but it's just a lot. And sometimes I'm not in the mood for the books that I have right here, and then I read a Kindle Unlimited book, and then it gets worse. So, the only way that I can achieve that goal is if I go on a 1-year-long book buying ban. And I actually hate myself for saying this, but I am on a book buying ban for 1 year. Now, there is one exception. So I am going on a trip with my mom in this summer, and the only exception is this trip. So on this trip, I am allowed to buy 10 books. There are multiple reasons for that. First reason, because books are heavy and I have to transport them back on a plane. Second reason, because if I buy more than 10 books, I go all out and I buy the entire Barnes & Noble. Just saying. So those are the rules. I am allowing myself 1 new book a month. And no, if I don't buy a book in a month, like if I don't purchase a book, those won't add up. So each month I get 1 freebie. Now this is mostly gonna be like 1 book special edition probably because I cannot resist those. I do have a few pre-orders from last year still like going till this year. So a few of the books that are coming out in like January, February, I already have those pre-ordered. So I'm excited to see when these get here. But other than that, I'm not allowing myself to buy any books. And this is so hard for me because buying books is one of my hobbies. It's not just reading the books, it's also buying the books. And it hurts me a little bit, but I think the 1 book a month rule is a good one. So I think now it's time to go through a few books that I definitely want to read this year. Of course, I'm not talking about Ruthless Vows, which is still not here, but it has pre-ordered and it has shipped, so it should be here either tomorrow or like Monday the latest, right? Today is Thursday. Another book that I will definitely be reading is the next Crescent City book. I can't wait to read those, and those are on my pre-orders, but they're not here yet because Crescent City is not out yet, so I'm excited. But I have a few books that I've been meaning to get to for a while, and that I've just pushed aside, And those are the books that I definitely plan on reading this year. So we're starting this with the book that has been on my TBR the longest. By the way, please comment down below which book has been on your TBR the longest, because I am very interested in that, and I am also very interested in not being the only person who does this, because Circe has been on my TBR for almost 3 years. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm so scared of this book, but I am. I think I know why. This is by Madeline Miller, and Madeline Miller also wrote The Song of Achilles, and The Song of Achilles destroyed me. Literally. I loved that book, but it killed me. I needed a break after that. I needed to breathe for like 3 days because I cried so much. So I'm scared of this, okay? If one book has the power to ruin me completely, then another book by her probably has the same power. I know this is not as sad as The Song of Achilles is, and this is about Circe. Circe is the daughter of a Titan, and she is sent to this island where she lives alone, and she just meets different humans. Throughout this book, Circe will have to choose whether she will be on the side of the gods who hate her, or whether she will be on the side of the humans who she's come to love. So this is really cool, and I do know that Odysseus and Circe meet throughout the Odyssey, so I'm kind of really interested. Greek mythology is one of my all-time favorites, so I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm not sure why I've put it off for so long. It's probably really good. The next book, I don't even know why I've put this off for so long, okay? And none of you have heard of this, but this is Stealing Home. This is a baseball romance. It's the third book in the Beyond the Play series, which is essentially about two brothers and then their adoptive brother, and this is like one of them, the third one. And they're all sports romances, and I'm not sure why I've never read this. I just didn't feel like picking it up last year when I read the first one and the second one, like, back to back, because they're really good. And then I think I ordered the third one, and it's just been sitting on my shelf ever since. So this year, I am finishing this series because it was very good. It's roommates falling in love. It's so good! I'm so excited for this. I think I'll just show you the last romance that I've not been getting through, but I am very ashamed of this one. So please don't come at me for not having read Book Lovers. I've read every single other Emily Henry book. I'm not sure why Book Lovers is the last book that I haven't read yet. It just is. I've read Happy Place, I've read People We Meet on Vacation, I've read The Beach Read. It's just this one that's still here, and I don't know why I'm so intimidated by it. Maybe because a lot of people loved it, and I am just scared of reading books that a lot of people loved. That's just a thing that I do, and it's tough for me, but it is a thing. Nora is a book lover, and she enjoys reading, and then she meets this agent who is very grumpy and very rude, and they meet on this island, I think, or like some remote place where she's going to help her sister. I'm not entirely sure on this plotline, by the way. I read the back and I didn't get it. So we're working with people who love to read and people who love books. And as a person who loves and reads books, the concept sounds incredible, but the concept also sounds really, really scary. The rest of the books on here are all fantasy books. So the fantasy book that I am not really most excited about, but the book that I've been pushing off the longest, Kingdom of the Feared. I read Kingdom of the Wicked, I read Kingdom of the Cursed. I'm not sure why I am putting this book off, because I know that I'm probably gonna love it. I enjoyed the first book so much, I enjoyed the second book so much, so why am I scared of this one? I don't know, okay? I don't know why I'm so scared of it. It's just a fact that I'm scared. This is about two twin sisters, and they're both witches, and then one of the sisters dies, and then the other makes a deal with like one of the princes of hell. And it's just such a good book. It's just such a nice world. It's such a fun, witchy kind of plot. And it's very dark, and I've loved it so much because the male lead character, Wrath, he is incredible, and I am low-key obsessed with him, even though he is like one of the worst and one of the most morally gray people I know. I love him, okay? And the last book ended on a cliffhanger. I'm not sure why I never finished it, but I didn't. So I need to read this book this year, okay? That's the main consensus of what I just said. Then the next book that I definitely need to read is The Atlas Paradox. Now, I read The Atlas 6 as an e-arc. That sounded like I was imitating a donkey, but no. I read it as an advanced reader's copy that was sent to me via my phone. Maybe that's the best way to say it. So I just read it on my phone and I loved it, but right now I'm in the process of rereading it because that book is a lot more complex than you might think, and I still remember a lot of it, but I don't remember everything. But I definitely want to read The Atlas Paradox, and then I know for a fact that the next book has already been sent to me. So I need to get on with this series. Just because I'm scared of it, that doesn't help me in not finishing this book, because I should be finishing the book because it's so good. The whole world is so good. The whole magical system was so nice. It was so dark and fun at the same time, and I loved the first one, so why am I not reading the second one? I don't know, okay? In the Atlas 6, you basically have a few people who are supposed to protect the Library of Alexandria, and each year 6 people get chosen and only 5 people can actually become like the librarians and then learn about the library, and most of these people then go on to become very important people, like presidents and supreme judges and stuff. The main thing is that one of the people that get there, one of them has to die, and the others have to decide who will die. After that plot twist of the first book, I am not sure why I've been so terrified to pick up the next one. So maybe it's time to read this, finally, this year. And then next we have a book that is really extremely new, but I am so excited about it that I have to put it in this video. And that is What the River Knows. This is a mixture of different kind of mythologies, but most importantly, it's Egyptian mythologies and Egyptian gods. And when I was little, I read this book, okay? Der magische Skarabäus. I'm pretty sure that this book is not translated into English, but it was my absolute favorite. It was about a girl who disappeared into a different world behind like some kind of mirror after her dad died, and then she had to deal with the Egyptian gods. I was so obsessed with the Egyptian mythology that I cannot wait to pick this up because I want to be in this world again. And I have such high hopes just because it's Egyptian mythology. So if you know any other books that are about the Egyptian mythology, please tell me, because I will read them. 100% I will read them. I've been thinking about this book since it got here like a week ago. So I will definitely be picking this up in the near future, probably like next week. But it's on the plan for this year. Another one of the books that have been on my TBR for way too long, 6 Crimson Cranes. I got this book because I thought it was pretty. I had absolutely no idea what it was about, okay? Zero clue. So all I know is that it's about a princess who's in exile and then there's a shape-shifting dragon. Why have I not read this sooner? Like, I'm obsessed with royalty and I'm obsessed with dragons. So why not sooner? Also, there's a curse, so since it's 6 Crimson Cranes, maybe it has something to do with that fairy tale of like 6 cranes with the 6 brothers that are turned into cranes. I'm not sure. They're swans. They're not cranes. But maybe that's similarity. I'm not sure. But I love that fairy tale. Probably because it's very dark and people will get executed. Why am I like this? Anyway, I'm really excited for this book and I just love it. I also have the sequel and I have the spin-off. So why did I not read this already? But I have all the books, so that's fun. Also, it's such a beautiful book. The last book, the one and only, the one I'm the most scared of, and the one I've been pushing off for no reason. Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I read Priory of the Orange Tree twice already. I read it 2 years ago and then I read it last year because I've been preparing for this, and then when this got here I was so scared and so terrified that I hid this book away and I've not touched it ever since because The Priory of the Orange Tree is one of my all-time favorite fantasy books, but it's such a hard one to get through, and I am so terrified that I'm not gonna enjoy this because this is the prequel to that, right? So I'm just overall scared, and I hate being scared of books, but I am scared of this one just because it's such a big book. Like, compare it to my face. It's like half my face. It's like the width of my hand. It's a big one, and of course that's intimidating, but if I just start reading it, I think it's gonna be great. So the plan for this year is to finish reading this book, finally. Yeah. So those were all the books that I plan on reading definitely. I will definitely be reading a lot more books for my TBR, but just because, you know, the plan is to get the TBR even lower. The plan is also to have a lot of fun while reading. So if there is a book that is on my TBR that I don't want to read, and I will probably never read, maybe, well not maybe, it is my plan to get rid of those books. So I do plan on actually unhauling a few books this year because I don't know what to do with them. I will never read some of these. So I have a few goals for this year. I also want to try and get more into reading books in German again because I feel like I haven't done that in a long time. And there are some great German books by some great German authors that I really want to read, and I don't see any point in reading those books translated into English because I do speak German fluently. I also want to try and read a lot more indie published books, and I still have a lot of indie published books on my shelves. So I want to get more into that. And then another goal of mine is to try and use my local library again. Okay, so since I live in Germany, my local library is mostly German, which technically isn't that bad. Like I can, as I said before, I could read in German, but I don't want to most of the time because I read very slow in German. Like, I'm much faster in English, which is why I read in English and it's much more fun. But I want to use the library a little more just because I can. So the library is included in me being a student here where I live. So I can use the library for free, I can get free books. The only issue is that they only have 2 or 3 bookshelves of English books. And they're like, they've been collecting those books since like 2005. So the books that are on there are like the 50 Shades books and the Twilight books and a bunch of weird books that were like not even cool back then. But yeah, I hope that now that you've seen my reading goals for this year, you are excited to tackle your TBR, which is essentially what all of this is, okay? This is essentially just me going through my TBR and becoming a better person because I have too many books on this shelf that I have not read yet, and I need to change that. So the plan is for this year, get the TBR below 200. And I've said it here, I've said it again, get the TBR below 200, don't buy books. And with that, I think it's time for me to leave and tackle my TBR because I am struggling. Okay, goodbye. I know that technically nobody's forcing me to read my TBR, and that if I wanted to buy new books, I could, but I am setting myself a challenge for this year, because I just go out and I buy new books all the time, and then I get so overwhelmed by them that I just feel like lowering my TBR down would just benefit my mental health, honestly. So that is what we are doing. And if you want to join me in this challenge, please tell me about it. Okay, bye everybody!